The day I found another man's watch under my bed, I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was so obvious. Affairs are supposed to be hidden, careful, complicated. This felt careless, almost insulting. The watch was expensive, heavy, silver. Definitely not mine. I picked it up and stared at it for a few seconds. Then I put it back exactly where I found it and left the room. I didn't confront my wife. I didn't ask questions. I didn't even mention it. Looking back, that decision saved me. Because the watch wasn't the real problem. It was only the first clue. My wife, Emma, and I had been married for 7 years. We owned a marketing company together. I built the business from a laptop in a tiny apartment. Emma joined 2 years later. Together, we turned it into something successful. For months, I believed I was the victim. Now I realize something else. Emma wasn't the mastermind. She wasn't even a partner. She was the next target. And she had absolutely no idea. Most people would have warned her. Most people would have exposed everything immediately. I didn't. Not yet. Because for the first time since finding that watch, I finally saw the entire board. The lover wasn't building a future with Emma. He was building an exit strategy, and she was too blinded by greed to notice. Over the next week, I kept watching, listening, collecting. Every new piece of evidence confirmed the same thing. He had another company, another bank account, another life. The money wasn't being moved toward Emma. It was being moved away from her. Every promise he made was a lie. Every plan they discussed ended with him controlling everything. The strange part was that I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I remembered the meetings, the stolen money, the lies. The months she spent helping destroy the business we built together. Sympathy disappeared quickly. 2 weeks later, the board meeting arrived. The day they had spent nearly a year preparing for. Emma walked into the room looking confident. Her lover sat beside 2 investors. Everyone smiled. Everyone shook hands. They believed they were about to win. Emma stood and began her presentation. According to her slides, declining profits were my fault. Operational failures were my fault. Strategic mistakes were my fault. Then she delivered the final recommendation. Remove me. Transfer executive authority. Begin restructuring immediately. She sat down and looked around the room, waiting for approval, waiting for victory. Then every eye turned toward me. I stood slowly, thanked Emma for her presentation, connected my laptop to the projector, and opened the first file. The first slide showed unauthorized transfers. The second showed hidden accounts. The third showed fraudulent invoices. The fourth showed internal emails. By the fifth slide, nobody was smiling. By the sixth, Emma looked confused. By the seventh, her lover stopped making eye contact. Then I showed the recordings, private conversations, financial documents, secret agreements. The room became completely silent. But I wasn't finished. Not even close. Then I opened the final folder, the one neither of them expected. The folder containing emails between the lover and his wife. The room froze. Emma frowned. Her lover immediately looked down. I displayed the first message, then the second, then the third. Every message revealed the same truth. He wasn't planning to share the company. He wasn't planning to share the money. He wasn't planning to stay with Emma. He was planning to use her, then abandon her. One investor actually laughed. Another shook his head. Emma looked at the screen as if she couldn't understand what she was seeing. Then came the email that ended everything. Once the company is ours, she's gone. Nobody spoke. Emma turned toward him. He couldn't even look at her. For the first time since I had known her, she looked genuinely shocked. The woman who thought she was manipulating everyone suddenly realized she had been manipulated herself. The board removed both of them before the meeting ended. The investors withdrew support immediately. An internal investigation began that same afternoon. Within weeks, the lover's company collapsed. His accounts were frozen. Lawsuits followed. Clients disappeared. His reputation evaporated almost overnight. Emma lost her position, lost her ownership stake, lost nearly every professional relationship she had spent years building. Then came the part nobody expected. His wife filed for divorce. She'd seen every email, every transfer, every lie. She took what remained and left. Suddenly, the man who thought he controlled everyone found himself completely alone. 6 months later, I heard he had filed for bankruptcy. Emma tried contacting me dozens of times. Calls, texts, emails, letters. She apologized for everything. She blamed him. She blamed herself. She blamed circumstances. None of it mattered anymore. The strange thing about betrayal is that people always think the damage comes from being caught. It doesn't. The damage comes from believing you're untouchable. Emma believed she was smarter than everyone in the room. Her lover believed he was smarter than Emma. In the end, they both made the same mistake. They spent so much time planning how to deceive others that they never considered being deceived themselves. Sometimes people ask if I got revenge. The answer is no. Revenge requires action. What happened here was simpler than that. I stayed quiet. I watched. I waited. And eventually they destroyed each other. Because in the end, neither of them lost everything because of me. They lost everything because greed convinced them they could trust the wrong person. And that mistake cost them far more than they ever imagined.